all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and largely children and women.
They were attacked and they're defending themselves. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. They've attacked Israel 5 times since they were given that land back. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war.
So Bill Maher has been trending on Twitter lately, yet again, for a couple of different reasons. There's a couple of viral clips of him on The View, doing an interview there, talking about the conflict within the Middle East. And there's another couple of clips with, I think, Megyn Kelly, of him basically going with her about Trump and the election and stuff like that. And so there's people who are really, really upset with him for 2 different reasons. They're upset with him because he is still defending Israel's right to defend themselves, and people are also upset with him because he still has Trump derangement syndrome and he will never ever be cured of it. So let's just love Bill Maher for who he is, for all of who he is, even with his Trump derangement syndrome. He's gonna die, he's gonna go to the ends of the earth and bury 6 feet under with that disease, uncured, unfixed. But he's always still fair. He still criticizes Biden, and he does do that in this clip. So we're not going to react to both clips in this video. We're going to do one, and the one you just seen partially at least of him basically standing up for Israel's rights to defend himself. And he's been a really big advocate in this. He's also been a big vocal voice, especially about how he just feels like Islamic religion and culture is not compatible with the West. He's been very vocal about this. So with that famous clip with him, I think in Ben Affleck, when Ben Affleck was, accusing him of being Islamophobic.
You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those
so not. You're
shifty Jew.
You're not listening to what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, we are endowed by our forefathers with an inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have.
That's just a fact.
It's funny how a lot of people accuse other people we can't criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic, but it's the same goes with the other way around. You can't criticize Islam or Muslim cultures or countries without being called Islamophobic. It's literally the same thing. But I believe you can criticize both, but I also believe there is a such thing as being anti-Semitic and Islamophobic. 2 things can be right at the same time. I don't like seeing what's going on in Gaza and Palestine. I have a tremendous amount of sympathy and empathy for the lives that are being devastated. They're just trying to go after Hamas, and Hamas is using the civilians and the civilian properties like hospitals and schools as shields, which no one on the left seems to want to criticize the terrorist group for doing, for brutalizing their own people, for putting their own people in danger. No one wants to criticize a terrorist group, not freedom fighters, not the oppressed, but terrorist groups for doing that to their own people. But again, I'm not a military expert, so I don't know. I feel like there has to be a more humane way of going in after Hamas. But then their other argument is that Israel is the most humane, because what other country, when your 2 countries are at war, who will send a warning to their enemies saying, hey, we're going to strike, throwing pamphlets down, hey, you need to evacuate, we're going to attack, and sending humanitarian aid into the enemy zone that, again, the terrorist group Hamas constantly keeps confiscating and stealing from their own people, which, again, the left seems really incapable of criticizing. But still, as a human being, to see other human beings just being wiped off the face of the earth like that isn't pleasant to see as a human being to another human being. Unlike the left, or unlike some anti-Semitics or Islamophobics, I have the ability to have empathy for multiple sides and multiple people at once, right? I don't have to dehumanize one side for me to have empathy for the other. So I totally agree with what Bill Maher is saying.
We're all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women. And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can we get out with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community, and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli...
And it does feel like a little bit that Israel is not allowed to win. And they're not allowed to win well. They're not allowed to win big. It's kind of like with the El Salvador president, when people were criticizing him for getting all the gangs off the streets, the gang members off the streets, and they were criticizing him the way they did it and how they did it. And even though he's literally done something historical by making El Salvador safe, and people were criticizing him because they were just like, oh, but to our Western sensibilities, we don't like how this makes us feel, like you're arresting children. And he was like, yeah, but there's a lot of children gang members. So should we let the children stay on the streets and kill and murder and slaughter and rob and steal and make everyone else feel really, really unsafe just because they're kids and just because they're underage? And, you know, people act like they never heard of child soldiers and stuff like that. And, you know, for me, if you can rehabilitate a child soldier or a child gang member, do so. But if you're not in the space to be able to do that at the moment, you still are allowed to defend yourself from someone, even if they're underage. Just like El Salvador, I feel like people are basically saying Israel is not allowed to defend themselves and defend themselves well. That if someone's underage, they are not allowed to defend themselves from that person, even if they're attacking them. They're not allowed to do the same thing that many countries have done for years and years and years and centuries and decades, which is go to war. War is not pretty. I'm anti-war altogether, but people die in war. Women, men, and children die in war, and we're all acting like we're brand new to this. I believe that Hamas needs to be eliminated. I don't want to see them ever return again. I don't want them to ever have the ability to ever hurt the hair of another human being's head. Ever again. And it sucks the way it has to be done or the way it is being done. But in the end, if it eliminates Hamas, then that's the objective. So I agree with Bill Maher on this. And at least, I forgot her name, this host on The View, at least she had the balls to say Hamas should be eliminated, because most pro-Palestinians, most pro-Hamas, and most anti-Israel advocates or activists really have the inability to speak those words. So at least she had the balls to say, yes, Hamas should be eliminated, even if she's very much on the left and kind of had to tilt around what's politically correct at the moment. But anyway, guys, you let me know what you guys think of this video, and I will react to the other Bill Maher video probably tomorrow, the other clip where he's exposing his Trump derangement syndrome yet again. Let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notifications when I do upload. All that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App is in the comment section down below, and you can super thanks. And you guys have an amazing, beautiful day. Bye.